As I'm out here enjoying some Maltese Falcon, a beautiful, delicious blend. I actually have a review on this blend. A lot of people have a review on Maltese Falcon, to be honest. But in my opinion, you can't have enough. So as I'm out here enjoying this delicious blend on this beautiful morning, I was thinking about something called imposter syndrome. I'm sure it's not like some sort of a deep clinical term. I'm sure most of you have heard of imposter syndrome or are aware of what it entails. Brief recap to make sure we're all on the same page, even though we know that we're reading from the same chapter. It's when we feel, even though we have the proper skill and time put into something, when there comes a moment in time where we need to prove that, when it's put to the test, and when we have to implement these talents or skill sets, we shy from it, and we develop great anxieties about it, and maybe even avoid moments where we would be tried on this knowledge or on this faculty. And we do so because we believe that we don't truly have what it takes. Like yes, we put in the time, but we just don't feel as though we truly are going to match up to the challenge. We feel like we are an imposter. Yes, I'm playing this part, but I don't really know what I'm doing, right? You kind of feel like you're faking it until you make it, but with high stakes. And high stakes is truly usually when you're going to be more susceptible to having that. Another component of the imposter syndrome is that it plays on your perception of self-efficacy, right? How you perceive your ability to truly exhibit and execute the skills that you know that you have. And oftentimes this can even lead to procrastination. It can lead to individuals giving up. Better for me to fail at my own hand, right? And a lot of times we'll even justify it. My boss was really riding me and everybody was unfair and I just had it and I quit. Or I've worked with individuals where it's becomes a psychosomatic physical symptoms that they will start to experience, right? Like, I pulled a back muscle lifting a box, and now I need to go out on disability or leave the job or something like that. This is avoidance, right? Trying to escape this uncomfortability of not feeling as though you have the skill sets that you need for that place. So better for me to fail on my own accord, even if it's a delusional, concept, even if I've created some reason for why I can't make it and why this isn't going to work. But I have bowed out. So in that attempt to avoid being someone who's put their effort into something and has tried really hard and then having failed at it, right? That's what we're trying to avoid when we do that, when we sabotage those situations. It's to certainly escape any uncomfortability that you already feel on a daily basis, because you feel as though you've got that imposter component going on. You feel like you're going to fail at this. You don't really truly have what it takes. So you try to bow out on your own terms. Then it's you have control over the situation. You are removing yourself from it. You don't have to feel as though you're a failure, because the other alternative is that you are putting your efforts in there, and you are, investing, and then if you do fail, it's more implicit, right? It's kind of, we feel as though that's a hit on you as a person. Like, that's a tough one, right? Because that's like saying, hey, you didn't have what it takes. And so some people really fear that, to a point where they have anxiety over it, to the point where they They literally will let it govern them. Some people to the extreme of seclusion. Some people will be, reluctant. Oftentimes when people are when they're procrastinating, it's just like another version of that, right? Because the second you do that thing, then it's there, right? Whatever that task might be. There's a test or a job or marriage, whatever, right? Honestly, I mean, it can be anything that requires a level of commitment, as well as a level of efficacy on your part to be able to do and do right. Parenthood, relationships, jobs, playing an instrument, public speaking, you name it. And when you procrastinate that, even if it's just taking a test at school, you get to postpone the judgment, right? And the risk of that judgment not being what you want, and then seeing yourself as less. Well, so then what? Well, so then you don't experience it and view it as something that is so implicitly a measure of you. That's what. That's easier for some. Damn near impossible for others. And that's the rub. For everybody, no one's exempt. It is a skill set of itself to learn to do that, to view challenges and the potentiality of failure in those challenges, to just view those as part of your hero's journey, as part of the adventure, not some proclamation of who you are. And you doubt that for a second, you can look at every single narrative that there has been out there since ancient Greece to today's heroic adventures. You're not going to watch too many of them where it's just be boring. If the hero puts on their armor, grabs their sword, goes out, and it's done. It's done in a chapter, right? What kind of book would that be? What kind of movie would that be? There's difficult trials. There's setbacks. It's normal. It's part of the learning process. It's part of the learning process in those features, right? Whether it's a book or a play or a movie or whatever it might be. You see that process in religiosity and in different cultures of religion. The essence of redemption, right? No one is supposed to be getting it right. We're supposed to constantly be striving to get it better. That is it. So my final advice on this would be, brothers and sisters of the Briar, do not procrastinate because of a fear of failure. Do not let yourself be overwhelmed when you are in the moments of those of proving grounds of whatever skill sets these might be of yours. Have confidence, and have confidence that, hey, if it ends up missing the mark, no problem. You readjust your aim and you learn from that and figure out how to get better on target the next time. And that's what it's all about. And so it'd be foolish to be robbed of that, really. And that's kind of the funny part too. Like, you don't want to be robbed of those moments where you do miss the mark, because then how would you be growing? If you're not growing, then what's the point, right? So don't look at them as failures. Don't look at them as a reflection of you as a person, just your current status on that specific endeavor, and just a place to keep moving forward and improving who you are, which is a great thing, not a bad thing. Anyway, be well and happy sipping.